Hi, this is a follow-up to a video in which I talk about a problem I'm having with my DRZ, and in case you want to watch it, you can just follow the link I'll post in the description. First, just a little explanation. The wooden stick you're seeing is zip-tied pretty securely to the bottom of the exterior tube of the left fork, and I've written a centimeter scale, so the measurements are very close, at least for us to see on the video. Here I'm going from idle to fifth, approximately 80 kilometers an hour, and although the ground is flat, the suspension is traveling approximately 4 to 5 centimeters and with no reason. Here you can see that happen as well. I'm doing a turn. In this one, I'm steady at 90. It's not slow-mo, and you can see it's shaking a lot, and all that I'm feeling in my hand, my arms, my back, and it sucks. Here's something interesting. There's a little segment, and the same segment in slow motion. You can see these arrows showing the grade separations, which are those separations that has in these bridges and flyovers, and it has no effect on the bike. You can see it almost doesn't move, but when it's on the flat stretch of road, it shakes. This is so weird because you can see right now, nothing. But then it shakes. And with my other bike, these are the only things that would make the bike shake. The rest of the road would not. And with the DRZ, it's the opposite. It's baffling. So now I'm going inside the tunnel, and the ground is not asphalt anymore, it's cement, and it's a little bumpier, but with my other bike, again, I feel nothing. It's perfectly smooth. And now in slow-mo, you can see that it's a lot of amplitude and really fast, and all these fast impacts go straight to your shoulder and your back, and there are no holes, no divisions, no irregularities on the floor. And it's so weird. And the next one, I'm probably going a little over the speed limit. And I wanted to capture a really high speed to see the difference. And there's not much difference on the effect of this malfunction. And you can see there's a lot of amplitude, and it's fast, and you can see the where the other car is going. All the ground is really flat, and the bike should not be shaking this much. And again, these are stretches of road with which I'm extremely familiar with. I've gone through them probably 200 times over the last 10 years, and I know for a fact that bike shouldn't be behaving like that, even a dirt bike. So on the next few clips, I'm using a helmet cam focusing on the handlebars, and I'm trying to capture the effect it has on my arm. But unfortunately, as I said, it doesn't really translate that well in the camera. So in the beginning of the video, I said something about my purpose or intention with this bike. And that is, I wanted to transform it into an adventure bike, a proper adventure bike, that could travel long distances on the highway without being too uncomfortable, and most importantly, going off-road on the countryside, and which is what I do the most, without being too uncomfortable too. And that carrying panniers and my wife on the back. And I know this is possible. I've done my homework, I've researched a lot on the internet. I've read what everyone has to say about this bike. I've watched countless hours of probably months worth of videos on YouTube. There's a lot of content on the internet, and I know the bike's capable. It was just a matter of doing these modifications, which I would have done if it wasn't for this issue by now. And now you can see the same clip in slow-mo. So these modifications are, I would put a 18.5 liter fuel tank And there's a place here that does excellent custom seats, and it would be a wider and more comfortable seat for 2 passengers. And there was a guy that was going to make steel reinforcements for the subframe, which is prone to cracking. And of course, I would change the gearing, and I had a list of farcals I was going to do, and auxiliary lighting and wind protection and better everything else that's on the bike, and proper jetting and everything. So right now you can clearly see that the road is very flat. There's no holes, there's no divisions, and you can see my arm shaking like crazy. And this is 25% speed, so when it's faster, the camera doesn't get it. But when it's slow, it seems like the bike's not moving, but you can see my arms in relation to the handlebars. There are these vertical lines, but there are no holes and nothing on the road. These darker things that you can see is oil and paint, and it doesn't affect the riding. So it occurred to me multiple times before making this video that if someone actually watches it, they might think, what's this crybaby complaining about? There's nothing wrong with his bike. Or even, oh no, that's how a dirt bike is supposed to behave. Or, oh, I can see nothing happening. Or even if it has something, he can ignore it. But you're gonna have to trust me on this one. It's painful to ride this bike for over 15 minutes on a flat road, and that's not something you want on a bike on which you're gonna sit for 9 to 12 hours a day for multiple days, like I have done in the past, and I want to do a lot more in the future. Especially if you have back pain like I have for over 20 years, and I've never been a moment in my life, or at least the last 20 years, without back pain. But it's something I tolerate. If you love doing something, you're not gonna let anything get in the way of it. And back pain, extreme back pain, it's so debilitating. But what you're gonna do, you're gonna buy a cruiser and avoid the countryside, avoid the back roads, and avoid every pothole in the way. I'm sorry, but I love getting to hard places and to new places and finding out stuff and climbing stuff, and I'm not gonna let some back pain get in the way. But there's some limit to it, and you need the right tool for the job. If the bike is making your life miserable, you're not gonna keep that bike, and this unfortunately seems to be my case. Oh, here I'm being kind of a hooligan, but I actually wanted to show that on this kind of ground, these tones, the bike vibrates as much as on the asphalt, on the flat ground, which is weird. And this one, my wife is holding the camera, and we drop off a small sidewalk. You can see it, but it's kind of like 10 centimeters, and it's 2 sidewalks. And you can see that the suspension travels around 4 to 5 centimeters. And this is important because that's more or less how much it travels when we are on the flat road in these clips. So now for the weird part. In this clip, you can see the problem is almost completely absent. So what's going on? The markings on the scale in the wooden stick stay pretty consistent. They change when I accelerate and decelerate, but they're not shaking up and down. My hand is pretty stable, the handlebar is pretty stable, the whole bike is very stable. The camera is shaking, but that's because the camera is on a boom pole. You can say that, oh, that's a different road, but it's the same asphalt. It's as flat as the other one. And we actually rode a day after that in the same road, and it was shaking like hell in the same place. So what the hell is going on? This is what's weird about this problem, because in 8 out of 10 days it sucks, but sometimes it just doesn't. I'm terribly sorry about my frustration. And thank you so much if you stayed this far. You're pretty awesome. I really hope I don't have to sell the DRZ. As I said, I love this bike, such an awesome bike. This problem seems to be right around the corner, and I can't seem to grasp it. If you have some idea of what's happening, if you have some suggestions, please leave it in the comment sections or send me a private message or anything. And who knows,